This is a Tape Deck podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to Will Run For. This is your host, Tom, and with me, as always, is our Erin.
Hello.
Michael.
Hello.
And Diana.
Hi.
This is just how it begins.
Hello.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What is happening?
We're not professional.
Hello.
What is happening? This is what happens when you schedule to record at like 2:00, and then it takes you like an hour to even start, and that, to even get online, and then like an hour after that you start recording, and then 4 hours later you're still recording.
Yeah. Yep.
So we wanted to do a bit of a special episode. Today we're going to be talking about or providing a Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend preview.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what we're calling it.
Yeah, preview-ish.
So, Erin, I know you got some feedback from some of the folks that ran Wine Dine, because we wanted to get a feel for what that experience is, and we're assuming that the experience at Marathon Weekend is going to be similar. And so, full disclosure, Diana and I are not doing Marathon Weekend, but Erin and Michael are. So, yes. I don't know how you want to handle this. Do we want to jump into the listener feedback and then talk about what our experience has been, or other way around?
We're going to do the opposite way, right? We're going to kind of go through kind of what Marathon Weekend normally looks like, and then kind of go through the feedback for that I got on Wine Dine. We didn't do a Wine and Dine one because I felt like the Wine and Dine one would have just been none of us were
speculation.
Going.
Yeah,
And it would
it
have
would
all
have
been speculation because nobody had any clue. So coming into Marathon Weekend, we've now had a runDisney experience. We kind of saw how that ran, and we kind of wanted to talk about what Marathon Weekend was going to look like, and kind of what, based on the feedback we got, what that might be like compared to what we've experienced in the past. So I think we should talk about what our previous experiences have kind of all been.
I don't know. I'd never really been all that interested in Marathon Weekend. I've only actually done it once. I've done the other Disney races, I don't know, 3-4 times a piece. And this Marathon Weekend, I've literally only done once. And I know most people, it's like their favorite weekend.
Obviously I haven't really done any of the other ones, but I keep coming back from Marathon Weekend. So obviously there's something about Marathon Weekend that keeps me coming back.
Yeah, I know there's a great vibe that weekend. I can see why people love it. It is just such a weird time of the year for me. Just because
right off the holidays.
Coming right off the holidays, like in my position, like we kick off a lot of things in January, so it's just difficult.
Oh, yeah. You're starting up everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's also a tough training time for people who live up north because you're having to do the bulk of your miles in November, December.
Mm-hmm. So you're like training all over Christmas.
Some people like, but yeah.
Some people love.
But it's also dark. It makes it a little more difficult to time-wise and things like that, so there is pluses and minuses to it, but
yeah. So the Walt Disney Marathon Weekend it goes from Wednesday officially, a Wednesday through Sunday, and Wednesday is the opening day of the expo. Thursday is the 5K. Friday is the 10K. Saturday is the half marathon, and it all culminates with the marathon on Sunday. And if you are goofy, you can decide that you're going to do the half marathon and the marathon. And then if you are dopey, you can decide you're going to do all 4 of the races, which many people decide to do. And I cannot believe actually how many people decide that they're going to do their first marathon as part of dopey. As such, Diana did that.
I did that. Tom's going to do that. I think part of the issue is I've I'm just such a Disney fan, and I love it so much. I kind of always want my first to be in Disney. So my first 5K wasn't in Disney, but my first 10K, my first half, were both in Disney. And all I was like, okay, I want my first marathon to be in Disney. And then when you start thinking, I'm only going to do the marathon, I don't know what it is, because nobody said this to me or nobody was putting additional pressure on you. But it's like you hear all of just the marathon talk. And then people start convincing you that, well, if you're going to do the marathon, you might as well do the others because it's not that bad, and not realizing how bad it actually is.
Yeah. Well, you get
but
the
I
six
got
medals,
a lot of
you get all the bling.
You just get talked into it, I think.
I 100% agree with that. The Run Disney community is all about convincing everyone to do Dopey, for sure. We have our friend Maria, who's doing her first marathon as part of the Dopey Challenge.
Yep.
So, and then Anna Runs and Coffee, who I just wanted her to come down for the weekend. So I was like, come do the half. She's like, well, the only way I can go to a race weekend is if I do all of the races. So I'm doing a Dopey. I'm like,
what?
Well, you can't blame me for that, because then she's trying to blame us for that.
No, that's terrible logic, and that is all on her. I will tell you that right now. That is not your fault.
That's bad logic. Yeah. That's yeah, I agree.
So there's just people who wholeheartedly believe that whatever race weekend happens in Disney, they need to do all the races.
I don't believe that. I'm happy just doing the marathon. I mean, for me, I've done the marathon, 3 times?
Yes.
17, 19, 20, I think.
Okay.
Right?
I don't remember.
Well, 17 was my first, and then 19
you
and
didn't
20.
do 18, so yeah, okay.
Yeah, so
That makes
17,
sense.
19, 20. I'm not a big expo person, so I'm not running to go get all the stuff at the day
merch.
for
You're
sale.
not big into the merch.
Yeah. So I've never really experienced that part. I literally go in, get my bib, and leave.
Which people love the Disney
Yeah.
merch. I mean, people fight over the Disney merch, which we can get into it in a moment. So if you're doing Dopey, you have to be down on Wednesday in order to get to the expo and do all of the expo stuff. So I guess we should kind of break the weekend down in those pieces, like the expo and then each race. So the expo, if you're doing Dopey, like I said, you're going to want to get there on Wednesday to get your bib and all of your stuff. There's a lot of people who, even if they're not doing the Dopey Challenge, they will fly down there because the merch is so coveted that getting to the expo and being in the door as one of the first people is super important to them, so that they can get the Run Disney merch.
I don't think people should be, all right, this is Diana's hot take. I don't think if you're running the race, you should be able to go in and buy merchandise if you're not running the races.
I'll agree with that.
Agree. I think it should be open to the runners first. I agree.
Yeah, and then
Saturday or Sunday if you want to open it up.
If you want to open up to everybody else, but I don't think I think you should be able. You should have to supply a bib to purchase merchandise.
Yeah, especially those first couple days, to avoid the issues that they've had.
Because they've had so many issues. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's also very overwhelming. If you have not seen an expo like that, where the merchandise it's all some of it's spread out in different places, and there's a strategy to it, and a lot of the items are highly, like you said, highly coveted, and people get really, really upset if they don't get their I Did It shirt or their magnet or their glass, whatever it is, right? Whatever the thing that they're looking for, because people will buy multiples of things so that they can later sell it.
No, it's gross.
It's really hard to police. I don't think it's that hard to police against, but apparently it's really hard to police against because they haven't really done it. But
it's not hard to police against. They just don't do it.
Plan accordingly because it's a lot.
So the expo itself, you go in, you pick up your bib in one place. You get your bib, they take a picture of you to make sure that they have a picture of you holding your bib. Then you go get your shirts in another location. Then the merch for the Disney stuff is in one location, and then the Expo merch is in a different location.
Yeah, the Disney specific is in the separate area. Yeah.
So there's like several different areas that you have to travel to and visit while you're at the Expo. It can be large and overwhelming if you haven't been to a large Expo like that in the past. On Wednesday, the lines to get into the Expo can be really long. So if you've never run a Disney race, kind of prepare yourself for that as well. The transportation to get to the race from the hotels can have long waits that first day. Anybody else have anything about that?
Yeah, like, so if you're doing Dopey, obviously you got to get there Wednesday. If you're not like a big Expo person and you're doing like the half or the full, just wait.
Just wait.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Because like I usually go Saturday later and there's like nobody there.
Yeah. Because
at that point it's just the full marathon people. Yeah. And it's people who don't, who aren't big Expo people at that point anyway, because you're just going to grab your marathon stuff in general. So just gauge it however you feel about it. Like the Expo is all the normal Expo stuff. Like, I don't know.
I was just going to say that I actually think that the Disney Expo does a really good job of being a large expo.
It is big.
So, not a being of the larger expos.
Yeah.
Like, I think the runDisney one is one of the better ones. I've been to a lot of large expos. They have a lot of like places where you can take your picture. They have like, like even going into the expo, they have lots of photo ops.
You can get a beer with whatever race distance you're running, like on the phone.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like,
yeah.
Yes.
I love the Disney Expos. I think they're so fun. We always do it on Wednesday. We don't mind standing in the big line to get in. We spend way too much money on the merchandise and we just we'll spend like a few hours in the actual expo.
Yeah, and then the beer you were mentioning comes in these I don't know if they still do it, but these plastic cups, the runDisney cups.
Our favorite.
Which are the best drinking cups ever.
Yeah, we have one sitting on our counter right over here. That's kind of like permanently there.
Yeah.
Because we use it to drink water out of, and then also we fill the Keurig with the runDisney cup.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about feedback. Because this one's an easy one. Anna Runs on Coffee, who did Wine and Dine, said everything is basically the same this year. There was like literally no difference. You picked up the bibs in the one place, the shirts in another, the merch in the other. The only thing she said was that the runDisney merchandise kind of was a bit of a letdown. There wasn't a lot of it. There wasn't a lot of variety of products. And I feel like that's just kind of like across the board what you're hearing. And I feel like that might be a pandemic related supply issue because the regular Disney Christmas ornament store was completely empty when we went there because I just feel like supplies are super low.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because even when we went, we thought it would get more filled up by the time you guys went, and it wasn't.
It was completely empty. Like they were like the Halloween. There was more Halloween stuff there, and I think it's because all the Halloween stuff took so long to get there. So come like January or like February, if we go, we might actually be able to find some of the Christmas stuff.
Yeah,
we were looking for. So I mean that was really the only comment that we got about the expo.
Yeah, I mean for people like who aren't big expo people, like you don't have to feel like you need to explore it. Like if you're not a big expo person like me, just get your stuff, grab a beer, head out.
I feel like you're one of the only not expo type people. People love big expos.
Yeah, that's why. I don't know. I guess they do. I don't know.
I got a new pair of UFOs there a couple years ago.
Good for you. I don't think I've ever bought anything in an expo.
No, the Rod Threads crowd's always there. The Sparkle Athletic is always there. I just like the people you get to like meet and see. I mean, Jeff Galloway's usually there. There's like tons of people to see and things to do. And I don't know. You don't like to mix and mingle though.
No. And also I've always gone to the expo myself.
Yeah.
So I just, I'm there myself, just hanging out. So maybe if I was there with people, I'd hang out a little longer. But yeah.
Gotcha.
It was funny. The first time we did it, This wasn't Marathon Weekend, but the first time Tom came with me to a Run Disney event, like he didn't understand what we were getting in line for.
Oh yeah, I could definitely see that. Like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah,
like they were queuing us up to go in and get merch, and it's just, if you haven't experienced that before, Disney makes every event an event. And so that's very much true for the expo. Like everything, there's a lot of, I don't know, pomp and circumstance. That's not the right thing, but like, it's a whole to-do. It's a whole to-do is what I'll say to you.
It is. It definitely is.
Yeah, for sure.
But it does get you excited because running. We've covered this extensively. Running sucks. But that expo in particular gets you real excited to take part in those races.
Unless you're Michael.
Unless you're Michael.
Unless you're joyless. All right. So moving into the rest of the weekend, I guess you have the 5K, the 10K, the half, and the full. I guess we can, we don't have to get race specific, but I guess we can talk about the waking up at the
early.
Beyond.
Like Space Coast early. I didn't think it was that bad.
It was, I think it was, yeah. Space Coast early makes Run Disney early seem like really extra early.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got to get up at 2:45 probably.
Well, the buses start at 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about other people. I've never done anything else. I've never driven to a start line. I've
only done the buses. Yeah.
I've only ever done the buses, so I can only speak to that. And I've only ever gotten on the first possible bus, maybe the second bus if the line for the bus is long at my particular hotel. I would rather get there early because a lot of times we'll have characters at the start line, meetups are happening, things like that. So I just want to get there and be there. And that Disney races are the only races I want to do that at. Every other race I want to get there at the last minute.
Yeah, that's all good points about the start line. Beyond just the getting up early and getting there and which bus you get on. The start line actually has a ton of festivities. There's always Mickey and Minnie and Dopey
Music.
And Goofy are out there to take pictures with. So you can get into character line. There's always a DJ out there with strobe lights. And there's if you're part of a group, a lot of times there's group meetups that happen. That's where your baggage check is. There's tons of porta potties, all at that start area, which is not where the start corrals are. So let's just establish that those are two different things.
Well, depending on the race, you have to walk to different areas for the starts. Yeah.
Yeah. The start lines for the Disney races are always a nice long walk.
Well, the 5K ones are closer, right?
I don't.
I thought they were closer.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't
We'd have to
remember,
look at the
honestly.
maps. Yeah.
I didn't think so. I thought that they all pretty much start in that Epcot parking lot and then they all start
go out
right
to
around
that back road.
area.
Yeah, that's possible. I will say I did take the monorail once instead of the buses because I was at Bay Lake, and I found more that the big benefit to being on the monorail line is the buses get stuck in traffic. The monorail does not.
Yeah. If anybody wants to correct us or tell us what we're saying wrong, feel free to in the comments, because as Diana has often pointed out, you should not be coming here for your information.
Oh, yeah. Please do not.
We're expecting anything we say to be correct. So if we say something wrong and you want to correct it in the comments, absolutely feel free. Nobody will be offended.
Oh, and here's a transportation thing actually that comes up this year. Like in the past, I've stayed at Boardwalk a bunch. And you are now going to need a park pass to get from the finish to Boardwalk if you want to walk.
Yes.
Because otherwise you're going to have to take a bus or Beach Club or Yacht and Beach and Swan Dolphin, all that. You're not going to be able to walk now from the finish line to those hotels unless you have a park pass for that day at Epcot. So that's something you want to plan ahead of time if you're staying at Boardwalk.
Yeah.
Also, if you're staying in that area and thinking you're going to walk to the start, you are not. You are going to have to take a bus, which is incredibly dumb considering how bad the roads are that morning. And they could easily mitigate some of the transportation issues by letting people make a walking path.
Well, you've never been
Epcot.
able to walk.
I realize that. I'm saying it's dumb. And that they could make a walking path through Epcot to the start.
Oh, yeah. I guess that's true. Like, make a walking path, because I think part of the problem is, like, you get these people that'll just, like, I'm a runner and I know what we do because we were doing it at Space Coast and I kept yelling at everybody. We take up the entire goddamn sidewalk or whatever area, then we start leaking onto the road, and like we cause like all kinds of issues. So like I can kind of get it. But they should provide like, hey, here's where you walk. Like letting people do it on their own is a terrible idea.
Well, the thing is that like also in the morning, if you're talking about 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, there's no one in the park, so that doesn't really.
They're just it's empty anyway. Yeah, you're not blocking.
You're not blocking anybody.
And I understand they're doing
hotels walk through the park to get to the start area.
I understand they're doing their overnight stuff, but you could eliminate a lot of the traffic issues, or at least traffic issues for 4 or 5 hotels by doing that, or more now because of the Skyliner. So you could take this. You could then put the Skyliner in play where people get dropped off at the International Gateway and can walk through. But I feel like there has to be some logistical reason, but I think they're missing a big opportunity to mitigate traffic.
Michael's solving all Run Disney.
Look, it's a long walk, I'll grant you, but still, it's like, come on.
So so you can get the bus from what? I think buses start running at 3 a.m. Do you know what time they stop running?
I don't know.
You have to be at the start area by like no later, in my opinion, by no later than say like 3:45, because the starts are at 5 a.m. And you've got to walk still all the way to the start line, which is a 20 to 25 minute walk at least.
Yeah, from where the buses
drop you off. The best solution to have the least stressful morning you could possibly have, even though it is stupidly early, is to plan to be on those first few buses or the monorail. If you're over at
those resorts,
at the monorail resorts.
Make sure you have like something warm because you're going to be standing there a while.
Yeah, make sure you bring throwaway stuff for sure. Disney collects them, is my understanding. Most races say this. I'm not sure how true it is.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know.
The races collect them to donate. So if you have an old sweatshirt, old sweatpants, just go ahead and throw those on. And then as the race begins, you can throw them to the side of the road and they'll come collect them. Anybody else got anything to say?
You can start with your own corral, or you can drop back.
So you can't move forward, but you can drop back. Disney used to release your corrals like before, like when you got your waiver, it had your corral on it. Right now, they're not doing that. In as far as Wine Dine, nobody went knowing what their corral was going to be, and the waiver that we signed the other day for the marathon weekend did not have our corral on it. So I don't know. I don't know what corral we're going to be in. I guess we're going to just do feedback kind of as we go. So they moved from being the A, B, C, D through what was it, like H
something,
down the alphabet to 4 start groups that are S1, S2, S3, and S4. And they had the like mini waves inside of each one of them. And so that's just how they moved you. And at Wine Dine, they said that they moved very fast. A few people said that it was honestly the same. The only thing you could tell was that people were just kind of thrown into corrals. Mal specifically said she's not complaining because she doesn't do Disney's PR, but she had to do a lot of weaving and dodging for the first couple miles to get a decent run. It just didn't seem to flow that well.
Yeah,
I could see that. Yeah,
which, I mean, I guess a lot of times at the Run Disney races, it's kind of a cluster, but I think that they felt like it was a little bit more clustered than even in the past.
Gotcha.
And Anna said that she has no idea how they actually ended up clumping the runners as far as proof of time, pace, and Club Run Disney. She heard that all the earlier corrals were just as congested. So I don't really know how they're doing that whole proof of time versus Club Run Disney stuff. and I did ask whether they were able to fall back, and I heard that they were able to. Diana, I think you said you saw someplace that they may not have been able to.
Yeah, I don't know why I feel like I saw that somewhere where people weren't allowed to drop back, but maybe that was a different race.
Okay.
But
yeah, so maybe some mixed message. We're not really 100% sure.
Yeah.
In the past, you've been able to drop back. I've dropped back
I've
on
dropped
numerous
back.
occasions to run and fun run with friends. The Disney start line is one of the more fun start lines. They have the characters out the start line. Mickey sends you off. Usually whoever's race it is. So like for the half marathon, Donald Duck will be out there.
Usually Mickey and Minnie, race Mickey and Minnie are out there. They'll usually they'll be at the start, and then once all the crowds go off, they go directly to the finish. So you get them at the start and the finish. But then there's other like photo ops, because like the one year that I did the half, who was there? Was it Scrooge McDuck?
Yeah.
Like Scrooge was out there.
Sometimes you'll get some rare characters and stuff like
Chip
that.
and Dale are usually hanging around. Like,
yeah, it's fun. I love it.
Yeah.
At the start line, Scrooge was there?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were
that's cool.
we had dressed like DuckTales.
Yeah.
And he was excited to see us.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah, I love it. And you still look like super fresh, although a lot of times it's before a race, so you still have all like your cold weather stuff.
Gear on.
Yeah, that's true. So if you have the costume on, you can't quite see the costume because you still have all your throwaway stuff on top of it.
Yeah, a lot of times that's like me with like my Mylar, and then my Mylar I've just like thrown to the side for the photo or something.
And I feel like for Dopey's there for the Dopey runners. Mm-hmm. So like a lot of the times, again, you want to get there early because there are character photo ops that we've mentioned, but there are lines.
The earlier you get there, the better, because there's been years where I've got there like right as it's been opening and been able to get photos with like it's usually 4 characters. There's usually like 4 character lines, so they're humongous. Get like 2 or 3 of them, but even getting a little bit later, like you can barely get one in the time that you have. So yeah.
I've actually
the lines are really, really long.
I've actually only done the character lines at the start like once. Oh, that's right, because they have them at the finish too. Because I've always wanted to wait for the Goofy one, and I have never waited because 1, I'm usually drunk, and 2, it's too long.
Yeah, I've never gotten a character photo after. Like I'm ready to like get my beer and then go. Like I want to take a nap. I'm cranky 100%. And I'm done.
Yeah. They always start the corrals with fireworks. So at the actual start line itself, you get a little firework. Which they still did this time, even though fireworks are what I hear hard to come by. So Disney's still doing that. And it's just like a really fun way to start a race. Yeah. There's no other race you start with fireworks that I know of.
Character stops were what? Mostly selfies now?
No, not at all.
What? Really?
No, they were full character stops.
Oh, really?
Were they?
Didn't you see all the pictures?
No.
You just can't get close to them,
goodness.
right?
Yeah, so they had the character stops are basically exactly what they've always been. But just instead of you being able to like hug them or touch them or put your arms around you, they have like planters that like, or like some sort of obstacle that you can't like be right next to them, but you are standing almost as close that you could practically be touching them. And they're still doing full photo pass, and they're still doing where you can give your phone to the cast member that is with the character, and they're taking the pictures with your phone too. So like literally nothing has changed. The only thing that is slightly different is that you can't be next to them. Like there's just like a small little barrier. But if you go look at anyone's Wine and Dine pictures, they are right next to the characters. And they said like everything felt exactly the same. There was like somebody said that they had a character every quarter mile, which seemed a little early in the half marathon, but it definitely helped things thin out faster because there were so many characters. And I kept hearing that like this was one of the most character heavy races that they've done in a long time. So I feel like Disney really brought it with the characters and the entertainment because 1, people have been complaining about it, and 2, it's like their first race back. I feel like they really, really wanted to like bring it for the runners. So I do applaud Disney for that. So
yeah, well, that's good to know then. And there's a lot of stuff that goes on those.
They did courses. Say that. So when you have the character stops where you have to, like, where you get to hug the character, I feel like that takes a lot longer.
Yeah, that's probably
they said
speeds
that
it up, right?
this. Yeah, that was one of the comments, was that they felt like the character lines went way faster because they didn't have to wait for like each person in a group to like say hi to the character and hug the character. So the lines kind of moved much faster through the groups.
That's
that makes
good.
Sense. Yeah, that's actually probably better anyway, because they do get a little bogged down at times.
Yeah, and the characters still interacted with the runners the way that they always do. They were just, again, a little bit further away than they have been in the past. So I thought the interesting thing, the thing that I swore would get taken away, was the cast member being with the PhotoPass person, taking your phone and taking the picture as well.
Yeah.
And everyone said that wasn't. It was exactly the same.
Oh, interesting. I don't know. I almost like that better. Like, I feel like the line will moves a little faster when you're not like grouping up, and
yeah,
it can keep them going.
Yeah,
because like there are always people that want to have like, when you're in the park, I get it. Take as much time with the character as you want, but during a race, get your photo and go. Like, it's not for you to have a conversation with the character. Like,
it gets a little. I agree. It gets a little crazy at times where you like a group of 10 will go up there and then they'll each individually start doing it, and then all the
that's what when we used to run, even with Team Shenanigans, we would have like the person who would run up, wait in line, and then we would like people whoever could catch up would then take a group picture. But the rule always was we were one picture. Like we were like, and so we would have like 20 to 30 of us in one picture, but it was like the fastest picture ever, because we would see the person ahead and you would run faster to make sure you got into that picture with the group. But then like you ran up, you took the picture, and everyone broke back up again,
and then you ran.
Did their, So. And I always remember getting in line and being like seeing the line and having everyone like watch us like go up to the character, and we were like, we're just one picture, and like making sure everyone knew we weren't just like being a-holes.
Yeah, really.
But yeah, it's like people, they want to have a conversation, or it's just too much. So move it along. It's a race.
So if this is your first Run Disney race, just be considerate of all the runners who are in line behind you. While not no one, but a lot of people are not doing Disney for time. There are still people who are, need to make sure they're below the balloon lady pace. Yeah. So just be considerate of the people behind you.
Yeah, that's all.
And get your character stop and then move along. Yeah,
same thing on the road too. Like if you're walking in a group, just make sure you leave space for people who may be intervaling at different times or running steady or whatever. Just because it's a race where there's so many different paces all jammed together.
Yeah.
It's and with all the character stops and things like that, people are leapfrogging each other constantly. So just be aware of the people around you, and and other people should be aware of you as well. Same thing.
Yeah. And when you get to Cone Alley, be careful. That's treacherous.
It's tight.
It is very tight.
It's tight back there.
Did you see the new courses?
No.
They released the courses for Marathon Weekend. The 10K is completely different than anything they've ever done before.
Oh, good.
And you go into Hollywood Studios for like the 3 seconds you go into it for a marathon. So if you're doing Dopey, you basically get to do the same course twice. Yeah, I don't know. But
the 5K and the 10K were always basically the same course anyway, so.
Well, the 10K, I felt like you used to do the boardwalk loop and then do all of World Showcase.
Yes.
They're not doing World Showcase for the 10K anymore.
Well, yeah, no, I get that. But previously, the 5K and the 10K were basically the same with an extra 3 miles at the boardwalk.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it felt like you were running the same race 2 days in a row anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not 100% sure. I didn't look at the 5K course super closely, but the 10K course is very different. It's you go out onto the road, come all the way down the road. I don't know. There's been very mixed reactions about whether or not that's awesome.
I think until you see it, you don't know.
Well, a lot of people are not happy about them taking away World Showcase.
Yeah, I wonder why they
Because
did.
if you're only doing the 10K, now you don't get World Showcase at all.
Yeah, that's true. And that's kind of like one of the...
And you get more road and less parks. Because
gotcha.
in Epcot, if you're in Epcot, you're in Epcot for like a lot of the race. Whereas now you're on the roads, you're only in Hollywood Studios for like a quarter of a mile. And then you're out, and then you're only in Epcot now for like a half a mile.
Gotcha.
So you get less than a mile in all of the parks.
Yeah, that kind of stinks. Yeah.
So it's had some kind of mixed, but you get two parks.
You get two
You
parks.
get to go by Tower of Terror.
That's
so
true.
it kind of has, it's been having, from what I've seen, it's had mixed reaction.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just try different stuff at least,
Yeah.
No Blizzard Beach in the marathon this year. You go through the parking lot, but not Blizzard Beach.
Which is the dumbest thing in the entire universe. You don't even go through the actual park.
Well, I know what the issue is. Those pathways are very, very tight and windy.
Then find someplace else for us to go, or do an out and back on the actual road, and don't make us go in the parking lot of Blizzard Beach and run around a stupid parking lot.
What's the difference of the out and back on a road or the out and back on the parking
lot?
lot?
People are annoyed about the parking lot. Like, nobody wants to run around a parking lot.
Yeah, well, I don't want to do an out and back on the road either. It's the same thing. It's like no difference to me. That's exactly the same.
But they're calling it going to the Blizzard Beach.
You're not
That's the
going
problem.
to
Is they're
Blizzard
saying
Beach.
that you're going to Blizzard Beach. You're not going to Blizzard Beach. You're going to run around this stupid parking lot, and you never even go into Blizzard Beach.
Yeah. It was a little clumsy going through there, I will say. I mean, it was late enough in the race where everybody was kind of spread apart, but the pathways are not really big in there or anything. So,
well, at the end, I heard that it got more clogged where people were walking.
That may have been the issue.
May have been the issue. I don't really know, especially since they flagged the race. So a lot of people didn't even get to go into Blizzard Beach. The marathon course last year, or in 2020 when they changed it because of the construction, you left out of Norway. So you didn't even get to go by Mexico, which eliminated the possibility of getting margaritas. This time we're going around the whole World Showcase. But instead of going out by the ball, you go out by Test Track. Oh,
I get you. Yeah. Probably because some of that's still going to be closed off.
No, because during the half marathon, you go through by the ball.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very strange.
That's
weird. So the course maps are out if you guys want to check them out. You can find them on the Run Disney guide.
But no, it's fun. You hang out with people afterwards, hang around the finish line, wait for everybody. Hopefully it's nice weather. Just enjoy it. At night, don't walk around too crazy in between races. Like if you're going to be doing the marathon, just be aware of the time you're spending on your feet.
Yeah, it's real easy to spend too much time on your feet in Disney.
Like if you're fine with that, go for it. But, just be aware of it. And if you're like one of your first halves or fulls or whatever, walk around a bunch afterwards.
I mean, I agree. Like, it's weird because, you'll finish a race and you're like, well, we should spend some time in the park, or I want to go and get a picture of, in front of the castle with my medal. But if you've committed to something like Dopey, those early mornings will catch up to you. Mm-hmm. So plan accordingly, and it's okay to have some downtime. But yeah, you don't want your legs to all cramp up and everything. And
yeah, the worst thing you can do is just go sit all day. I did have a rule though when I did Dopey. The Saturday, I guess, before the full, I don't think we went to a park on Saturday, but we did kind of walk around, made sure I was doing that. But I had like a time in my head where I was like, we have to be back at the room and I'm not moving. Like after we do that, because my feet were already starting to hurt, because we did it the dumb way. So we wanted to be down there on New Year's Eve. So we had done the parks leading up to Dopey, which is probably also leading to why I felt so miserable doing Dopey, because my feet were already hurting by the time the 5K started. So my feet were already starting to hurt. I tried to move as much as possible, and I just said, after 5:30 or after 6, whatever I had in my head, I was like, I'm not moving. And I remember our friend Lisa was trying to get us to go get dinner somewhere. And I said, no, we're getting takeout. And I'm not going to get it. I was like, either somebody's delivering it here or you guys are going, because I'm not. And she's like, no, we'll go to downtown Disney. We'll get Polite Pig. So all you have to do is walk down the escalator. I was like, I'm not doing it. I will not. I'm not doing it.
No,
so
and you should.
It's okay.
You should have
it's a big
those,
race.
yeah.
It's a big deal.
100%.
I don't care. Be a dick to your friends, honestly. Like, you need what you need. So, like, don't let somebody force you into doing something you don't want to do. Like, It's okay to say no.
Especially if you've trained and you've put all that work in. This is the event that you're there for. Yeah. You're not there for anything else.
And it's okay to change your mind, too, right? So if you have an ADR for some reason at, like, 5 o'clock because you're thinking to yourself that still gets you back to the hotel by 7, and you decide that 5 o'clock, like, that you are tired and you don't want to be there, it's okay to, like, just change your plans and say no, like, that week, the day before, like, whatever you want to do, change your reservation to a different date and time later in the future to avoid your reservation charge, cancellation, whatever you got to do, or just pay the $10 that you got to pay in order to change your mind. Like, it's okay to do what you need to do for yourself. And if your friends who you are traveling with don't understand that, then maybe you need new friends. No, I'm just kidding.
No, just make sure you take care of yourself.
Yes, make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
The last bit of feedback I had was about cheering and spectating. The cheer crowds were a lot smaller this year. I think people were nervous about getting out there, or whether or not they'd be allowed to get out there or be able to get out there to the places that they were able to. So the crowds were a lot smaller. But the person that I talked to, Megan, said she was able to get to everywhere she wanted to cheer with no problems.
That's awesome.
So if you are a family member or someone who's doing one of the races and you're only doing one race and you want to cheer at one of the different races, they are not stopping you guys from cheering. So get out there and cheer your friends on. They did say that the runners themselves actually mentioned also that the cheer crowd seems smaller than usual. I think that's all I had as far as feedback.
Just enjoy it.
That's what I was going to say.
Let Tom have his moment.
All right. But just like,
edit.
I don't care. It is an amazing spectacle. Like, and that's the only way I can describe it, because me and Lisa, our friend Lisa, we race chased the marathon when you guys were doing Dopey. And at one point we got on the monorail to get to like another cheering point. And we just saw the marathon below us. And it was amazing, the sea of people. I don't know what it's going to look like this year. I don't know if the numbers are lower, but man, it's a lot of people and everyone's having a good time, and people really lean into the costumes and, just enjoy the whole experience of it, because it is completely different than anything you've probably ever experienced.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, running Disney is definitely different than any other race I've ever done.
Yeah, we do tend to crap on people that are like, I'm going to PR my 5K at Disneyland or Disney World. And we're like, why did you pay $190 to PR a 5K when you're running through a park?
It's like, get your money's worth. Now, run the race however you want to run them. Yeah. Because I have friends that have PR'd at a Disney race because that's what they've wanted to do. I've had friends who have a PR for the slowest race they can possibly do. And I think both ways are great. I think however you want to do it I think that's fine. And even if you don't want to stop for the characters and just want to enjoy the ambiance, I think that's totally fine. Like my friend Nicole, she only stops if she decides she's going to run a race with people. But there's been times where we've gone down for a Disney race where we've all kind of run on our own, where I've said, I want to stop for every single character. She just wants to run it. So I've run a Disney race, gone down with her and Nikki, and we've each run solo on the half marathon because, again, I'm taking every photo. They just want to enjoy, seeing the characters, but not taking photos with them or hearing the music or being there. And I think any way you want to do it is fine. I want to get my money's worth because it's stupid expensive.
Yes, it is.
Stupid expensive.
Yeah. I will say that if you're running Dopey and this is your first time running Dopey, one of the things that I've heard from a few dopiers, Anna, Susanna, who is perfectly dopey, is they try and get all of their fun out on the first 3 days. They stop for every character. They do all of their fun stuff those first 3 days because that way, one, they've taken it easy and they haven't worked their legs as hard as, they need to. They kind of try and save their legs for that last day because that marathon, you still aren't even at half your distance when you're through those 3 races for the weekend. So, and then at the marathon, you may not get to stop at every stop because you're trying to get to the finish. And that race might be your slowest race of all of them. So you want to try and move as best as you can through that first half to make sure you're giving yourself enough cushion between yourself and the balloon ladies. So any first-time dopiers, I will say that is most of the advice that I hear from people who have repeatedly done dopey.
And that's what I did. So I had fun. I think I walked the 5K. Like, I don't think I ran at all. The 10K, really reversed my intervals. The half, still did it as a fun run, but ran probably more than the other 2 races. And then for the full, I didn't stop for anything. I don't think I took any pictures, maybe one selfie or something like that, but no character stops, nothing like that. Until I got to Everest, because my goal was to ride Everest. So I needed to get there at a particular time to ride Everest, do that, and then I could relax a little bit the second half of the course. But I'm telling you, my feet hurt so bad by the time I got there. Don't do the parks before. If you're going to do the parks, do them after.
After, yeah.
After.
Yeah.
That's my advice.
I would definitely recommend doing the parks after the marathon.
It's probably too late to give that advice to the people who are on their way to Disney Marathon in like 3 weeks.
True.
Yeah, well, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Try and take it easy. Oh, rent a scooter or a wheelchair. And then
there you go. Yes. That's
then your problem
and
solved.
have your loved ones pushed you around.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tire
I
them
think that's
out.
fine.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
Awesome. No, hopefully this is helpful for people who have never done it. And then if you have done it before, maybe for some of the 2021 updates, hopefully it helped a little bit.
Yep.
Which really weren't very many 2021 updates.
Yeah,
Everything's
it is what it is.
exactly the same.
Yeah. And keep an eye on Instagram to see where we're going to be, Erin and I, while we're down there.
Yeah. I have no idea.
We'll figure out something.
Also, who's going to be there? Who's going to meet up? I don't know.
Yeah.
We probably before this episode even drops, I'm going to put a poll out there.
Put some feelers out there.
To see who's going to be down there, if anyone's interested in a meetup, because I'm not even sure who's going to be down there and if anyone's even interested.
Yep.
Maybe nobody wants to meet us.
Who knows? But we'll figure that out.
Understandable.
All right. There's Chinese food on the horizon for people.
Yeah, we got to get Chinese food. So, good luck, everyone.
Good luck.
And this is Tom for Erin, Michael, and Diana reminding you.
Oh, boy.
Hold on.
Oh, my God. Please be a fortune from a fortune cookie.
Reminding you that if you can dream it, you can do it. Walt Disney.
Walt Disney did not say that.
Really?
Wow.
According to
Tom
this,
Hanks, wasn't it?
according to this,
No,
Google,
it was, what is his name? The Imagineer, because it's in Horizons, and it always gets incorrectly associated to Walt Disney.
Yes, that's true.
Oh, boy.
Bob Gurr.
Controversy. No.
We've gotten
Wally Crump.
It's Rolly Crump.
All right, y'all.
Not Walt Disney.
Bye.
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 Bye.